They just went ahead and had the work done, and by the time permission was denied, when the work was already done. On over into this little cut, see if we can find some more sandhill cranes out in the grass on the left side. See that sandhill crane sticking its head up out of the grass? I had a field trip earlier today, you'd be surprised. Yeah, they built their nest here the last few years. They had 2 babies last year, but only 1 survived. Yeah, this is the migratory species. We've actually got 2 species of sandhill crane. We've got this larger migratory, and then we've got a smaller residential. I think that's a great egret that's way out there. This lagoon, we actually were spotting manatees in here off and on during the summer. There's one in particular we had fun finding named Phyllis. She's one of the largest in the area. She weighs around 2,500 pounds. She had a couple of calves with her this summer. One was her own and the other she adopted. And the way manatee adoptions work is sometimes the mother realizes she can't take care of her calf, so she'll leave the brothers might congregate and hope another nursing female will take over for her. And that's what happened in this case. Phyllis has taken part in several adoptions now, in addition to giving birth to about 13 of her own calves. So she's a really capable mother. Oh yeah, we've got some red-shouldered hawks circling over on the left side, just over the treetops. One behind this one, straight out from the front of the boat. Excuse me, Dad. We've left the main channel again. We're now moving into what's known as Goat Run, and this is Goat Island to our right. The island gets its name because, according to legend, a steamboat captain got lost in the rain and fog one night, made a wrong turn in here, and got stuck hard aground. So to get loose, the crew had to remove everything they could, including goats and chickens. But once they got the boat into deeper water, they realized they couldn't bring everything back to the boat. So chickens got the crabs. Chickens didn't last very long though. It turns out alligators enjoy eating chicken as much as a lot of people do. The goats managed to make it until the 1930s during the Great Depression, when hungry locals came out for a free meal. Oh, there's the great blue heron just in front of us on the left bank, one that just landed. It's a younger gray blue heron. It doesn't really have the dark patch on its shoulder yet. They have this black patch that continues to grow throughout their lifetime, so this is a younger bird. You may have noticed the manatee zone slow speed sign as we were coming into this area. Those signs are set up based on where manatees feed. It's because they have this tendency to gorge themselves on food and then pass out for a nap. When manatees sleep, that's when they're most vulnerable to boat impacts. We usually think about the motor or propeller strikes, but it's actually the impact of the speeding hull that does the most damage. Boat strikes are the #1 killer of manatees most years. 2017 set a new record for manatee deaths due to boat impact, and a lot of that had to do with them being taken off the endangered species list. They were bumped down one rung to the threatened list, which is supposed to provide all of the same protections. But a lot of people just heard not endangered and automatically took that to mean they could start blowing through the speed zones. Those signs are still up, those laws are definitely still enforced. If nothing else, you don't want a speeding ticket on the water. They do cost about the same as on the highway. Roasting back in the trees. Let the great egret up high. In the grass. Sometimes we'll see the smaller herons and egrets down in the grass, standing perfectly still, then their whole bodies will start to move up and down as one unit, but they're not putting any effort into it. That's because they're standing on the manatee's head or back as it feeds. Manatee is flushing out minnows and insects, and it's just a buffet for those little birds. One of the other big killers of manatees in the wild is red tide. The red tide is a naturally occurring algae bloom in saltwater regions, but it's a neurotoxin for manatees, so if they ingest it, it can cause seizures and then for their central nervous system to start shutting down. That's a snowy egret on the left, that little white bird. Those are the best of the manatee surfers. They'll actually stay on top of the manatee even after it backs away from the vegetation as long as they're close to the surface. Close at some of these leaves on the right, you'll see that they've got a maple shape to them, and those are the Florida red maples. The leaves actually bloom bright red. Oh, manatee is feeding on the right, just under the surface. Let's see if I can back up here without spooking it. Push further into the vegetation. And that blue bird you see back there is another little blue heron.
Oh, there he is.
Okay, there's the manatee nose just out in front. Just went down, so we can catch back up here. night heron flying by on the left. Just landed out in the open there. It's actually a really good picture. Folks at the gator farms tell us these black-crowned night herons eat more of their baby alligators than anything else. That bird would build her nest above the alligator's nest, because the alligator presents a threat to anything that would want to get up and eat the heron eggs. But she shows her appreciation and returns the favor by feeding those baby alligators to her own young.